Oh, there we go. Now I'm alive. Hello everyone. Welcome to this experimental mess that probably gonna mess up somehow. How you doing? Come here, Pixie. There we go. I leave. Yeah, sorry for the wait. I kind of forgot something. I needed to fix that real quick. It's a bit of a haphazard thing. I'm gonna be real. I, I have been racking my brain on how to do this properly for like the past few days, and I still have no idea. So I'm just kind of winging it right now. Especially because I couldn't figure out the whole music stuff in time. Uh, then maybe I can. Oh no, because I don't. The wing it till you make it. Yeah, I guess so. Also, let me check something real quick because I'm trying to make something work, but I don't know why it doesn't want to work. Alright, OBS, why are you not streaming the thing I want to stream? Oh, I think I get why. Maybe. Maybe. I think I understand. Okay. It is because I think I need to grab instead of a game capture a display capture, maybe. Maybe. That is not what I want to display. Okay, cancel. That is, in fact, not what I want. Sorry. Window capture, there we go. Ugh. Give me a second, I need to delete this one. Yes, please. There we go, window capture. Yes. There. Alright, now give me a second. Gonna send this back to the mega dimension. God, I wish there was a faster way to go through these things. There we go. And now, choo and yep. There we go. I guess I could just stream the drawing thing itself. Alright, zoom it in. But yeah, I was thinking maybe like basically to help with me talking about the random bullshit that goes through my brain, I could just kind of make doodles about it and stuff like that. I think that's a good idea, maybe. I don't know. I like I said, I'm just kind of winging it. Maybe I'll toss this out the window for next week. But yeah, now that I now that I have everything sorted. Hello, Nick. So the dangerous machinations of your mind. The inner machinations of my mind are beyond your comprehension. Hope you have been having a good morning, Nick. Despite having to wake up so soon just for this sort of bullshit. Also, I really wish I could get some music in here, but I do not have an. Oh, hi, Neo. Hello. Welcome to. Uh, I don't have Spotify Premium. I don't have YouTube without ads. Kinda screwed. I guess I could craft the music. Whoops, that is not what I meant to do. Sorry about that. But yeah, you know what? I'll just for now craft. Me just wake up. Oh, to be fair, I am surprised you woke up so soon considering the hour you went to sleep at. Woke up at 3 a.m. couldn't sleep, so I stayed up playing fucking Zero. Well, damn. Your Black Story has unfortunately. Oh, that's a shame. I've been good, just kind of anxious about this the whole time. I honestly don't know if this is gonna go well in any way, shape, or form. Okay, also there's music. Oh, oops, that's my microphone. That's not the music. Uh, wait. I moved the song over here. Why is the song not in the audio? Yeah, I know you went to sleep at 8. Neo Pain told me. Hell, I was awake exactly at 8 because my arm was hurting like hell for some reason. I still don't know why. It's not like blood flow related because my arm looks normal in color, so I don't heckin' know why suddenly my muscles decided to hurt. But yeah, I've been awake for since like 8 a.m. and I just kind of been chilling, working on some university stuff, and after that, just kind of moved on to just messing around until this, trying to prepare things and such. It's kind of feeling better. It again, like I said, it's a bit weird. It's like this sort of like muscle or like tendon pain, but I don't know what the hell it comes from because I haven't been doing anything physically strenuous lately. So I don't know. Yeah, for some reason this song is not being added to the audio, and I don't know why. This is very mean. Uh, why are you not playing the music? Yes, the fun of him. Oh my god. Well, that was a bust, so I guess we're just not having any music. Sorry about that. Ah. Give me a second, just checking something real quick. Because I keep getting notifications on my phone. Alright. But yeah, let me give you the spiel. You don't worry too much about it. But yeah, to give you the spiel real quick, Neo, like I said, I am kind of half-assing this right now because I have no idea how to do this because it's my first time doing anything like this. And so anything that I may do in this stream may be subject to change next week. Because again, I am absolutely lost. But the idea, for now, was that I would just, yap about whatever topic comes up with you guys and kind of throw doodles about it while I talk. Because I don't really know what else to fill the space with. I'm gonna be real, and I think, getting a bit of a visual, even if it's with my questionable drawing skills, it feels right. It feels like that could be a good way to do it. Just go like woo. Also, it is surprisingly comfortable to use the tablet in this new desk because, good God, trying to draw in my old desk back in the other room was a goddamn hell. I had like I had like half a square foot of space. It was terrible. But now that that is dealt with, it is time for me to go out of the normal talking way and go into actual streamer voice or something. I don't know. So, aside from your terrible sleeping habits, I hope you're all doing good. You draw with a little space. Uh, I have nothing else. That I just mastered doing it that way, as well as I could. I would usually just place the thing on my lap, honestly. Ah, the silence. It overtakes me. Hi, Seba. How you doing? Hope you're enjoying a nice break after all your tests and stuff. Welcome to a fake keeps digging themselves into a deeper hole every more and more. But yeah, since I don't really have anything of a starting topic of sorts, since first time and everything, I think having my fucked by this stream was fun as fuck. I'm glad. I'm glad you and Spec are having some fun time together. I wish I could join, but alas, I actually have responsibilities for during the Sundays. Not to talk about daily, to go about bugs. So Hollow Knight. Understood. I will start the job of figuring out the article soon, but I'll be eating first, so here I am. Okay, you enjoy your food and you're relaxing. And remember, if you ever need help, I am here. Sorry about that. And then I'll be looking in the background. That's good. But yeah, as that's fine, I will make you do the same demo stream someday. For what game? Because I'm not playing Al Mihoyo game for sure. I just uh, after playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, gacha games have just completely made me not want to play them whatsoever. God, what a waste of a game. It could have been so good, and no, it had to be a gacha game on mobile that half of the plot just becomes inaccessible until the game went out of service for some reason. Well, fuck you. Be a really bad one. Maybe, but I'm just Robocito can battle stream. No! No, don't make me stream gacha, please. I beg you. I'll stream MMOs if you want, but not gacha. I'll do Final Fantasy 14 streams if you want, though I don't know how entertaining that would be since I kinda like already started in the game, and I would not want to play through the whole thing again. A Realm Reborn is not the best story out there for Final Fantasy 14. Popping bubbles, my love. Amazing. Hi, Haru. You get me wrong. I don't want you to play. I want you to check out the lore. But I like to check out the lore of games when I play them. I don't I'm not really the kind of person who sits down and watches videos about lore. I'm gonna be real. Like I get when you talk about those things, but I say that I just kind of like if you make me watch a video of those sort of things, I'm just gonna lose. I'm just gonna lose my mind. It's like I'm really bad at watching through videos of things. Now, if you send me a document, I will probably read through that. Well, how do I open this chat to a pretty horrified look on my face? Uh, Horrified? Why? Do you hate the color white? Do you want me to change the background to black? I can do that. Gacha lore. It was not videos of lore, though. It could just be trailers and sitting and talking about it. I guess, but like, yeah. Like the thing is, I have a level of just not caring about that whole franchise at a base, so it's harder for me to actually engage with it. Nani, what the fuck are you talking about? Honkai lore? You know? Like how you are a Genshin fanboy? Who are you to judge, Haru? Oh, no, phone, don't fall. No, the stuff about the bugs. Uh, that is just Honkai lore. New ones cover peeps real bad, the bugs are a thing. Oh boy, oh boy. Bugs on universe ending scale. Ah, so Gunbuster. The lore, the lore, the lore. Neo need more friends who are luckier than them to borrow 5 stars the up. Speaking of which, Papa music please, God. Yes, we need to finish Gunbuster, and it's on you guys. You're the ones who have to stream the thing to us. It's not my fucking fault. And besides, we're gonna be so depressed when we finish it. Could add some requests sometime in the future if you want to do this type of stream again. I know. I just uh I just didn't have the time to figure it out because this week has been a mess. Sorry. Manifest was supposed to be streaming Gunbuster. God. I think wondering when you guys would ask us to finish the God. What a mess. What a mess. The thing why also the main reason why I didn't do song requests is because I don't remember how to do the thing where music doesn't play on the bod after the stream. Since I don't want to get stricken by the by thousand copyrights. Especially when Neon requests like somebody once told me combined with fucking Deja Vu or something. Yeah, I need to ask them at some point. I really do. But also, I like when when they're not busy, I'm busy, and when I'm not busy, they're busy, and I'm just like, And then I forget because I also have a shit memory, and yeah, not the best. The Twitch copyright is being shitty lately too. I know. I know. And sadly, I don't have any other sites from Twitch to listen music that aren't. It's... I need to grant stuff for that. Has... Okay, bye, Haru. Hmm. I will have to ask Nami about details later, though. But yeah, sorry about my incompetence, everyone. I promise it will not happen again. Like I said, this is kind of my first time doing something like this. Tu, 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 tu. Vaya, pat embodiment of bad memory. So let me convince you to look at Honkai Star Rail. There is a female Joker. This is Priest total hate but for the bit. What? Huh? I I have so many questions about everything that it was in that phrase. Like, I have all the questions right now. Female Joker to be racist for the bit. Huh? I am ever so confused. Oh, let's see. Da, 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 da. She's a strong hook to get someone started on anything. So Pathfinder. I mean, God, the amount of tangents we've gone through is off to a great start. But like I was gonna say before we started talking about Honkai and Gacha and racism, apparently, really like the action system. It's real good. Like I was about to ask you guys for if you had any topic in mind you want to talk about. So thank you, Neo. But yeah, it's honestly a very good system. Like it's I've played like a lot of heavy tactics RPG, or at least RPGs that like to think they're heavy tactics because yeah, 5e you're not tricking anyone. But I've played I've played 3 editions of D&D. I've played like Call of Cthulhu. I've played Stormbringer. I've played I play Fist with you guys, which that is as far from tactics as you can get in that game, at least when it comes to you guys. Uh, Fist is fun. It is fun, but good god, that game has given me some of the biggest double takes ever. So if brings any game, can't wait to come back. I'll try to make another Fist thing next year, maybe after we are done with SMT, if that ends quickly enough. I don't know. But speaking of, I really can't wait to get my hands on the SMT manual. I really want to know how it plays. Like I have no idea because there's no playtest or anything, so I'm just kind of sitting here waiting. Like, come on, give it to me, do it, give me the thing. But yeah, give me a second. Gonna. Okay, how big is this pencil? Oh, why is it at 15? Yeah, no fucking wonder it looks so big. Mention tactics, you're right. TTRPGs really kind of feel like a tactics game. I mean, yeah, that's because the start of TTRPGs were like actual his like okay. Let's do a bit of history lesson. So we are going back to like around the George Return Endgame, depending on how you want to style the game sitting around. In wait, George will return in Endgame, huh? Oh, it was. I was so confused for a moment. Like, huh? Wait, I'd kill for SMT RPG. I Neo, we are getting an SMT RPG. Hell, you can join and then once we get the thing if you want. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, back to the history lesson. Back around like I don't have to kill for it. Amazing. I don't remember the exact date. I don't remember if it was like 20th century or 19th century. But basically, people started doing a. Yeah, no, it was 20th century, I think. But yeah, basically, as things calm down in the world, and you didn't have as much of a constant warring state and such. After the craziness that was the end of the 19th century and the start of the 20th century, people just kind of started organizing and making tabletop games that were about simulating historical battles. So you would have the board, and they would usually simulate like they would simulate like villages where wars took place, or certain specific like terrains, like bridges and stuff. That kind of stuff. They would simulate like important wars and stuff that took place. Like the Battle of Stalingrad, fucking places in the American Civil War and stuff like that. And you would basically have like people would craft their own respective units. Like, for example, going back to that Civil War example, you would have someone who would be like the Brits playing on one side, and then you would have the ones playing the American independence on the other side, and then they would like actually just do a strategy battle to see who would get their side to win and stuff. You have chess and shogi. I mean, yeah, that is basically like the most basic form of that, you could say. But yeah, you have like this whole tactic stuff, and that's pretty much the first tabletop game. Well, tabletop like war game, but without the roleplay section, basically. Like Warhammer, but lame. I guess that's how you could describe it. Yeah. But then, as time passed, there were certain people who thought, "Hey, what if instead of just following the script of how this battle went, whoops, how about instead of going through the script of how this battle went, instead we change things up?" So suddenly you would have some players who would have the idea of like, okay, so what if instead of letting things played out the usual way, I suddenly have my soldiers, uh, ba- I suddenly have my soldiers like uh go out and bribe a bunch of townspeople from the town where the Brits are standing are hanging around in, and basically have my soldiers pay these citizens to poison the supplies of the soldiers and such. And now suddenly we're role playing how these soldiers have a disadvantage, how they have less units available and such. And from that, people started developing these role-played historical events, basically. So suddenly now people would start being like, "Oh, I want my soldiers to do this thing or this that other thing or da da da." There would be that they would start doing the roleplay scenarios and stuff. And then from there, a few people started. Why my soldiers could cast Fireball, and then Tolkien happened. Well, that Tolkien happened before that, but yeah. Basically from there, a bunch of people started breaking out from this group of, role-playing historical players, and started forming their own. And started saying like, "Oh, what if I just take this idea and make it into my own little make-believe world?" And so Gygax was one of these such people, and broke off and eventually made what we know as Dungeons and Dragons, where instead of having like a group of soldiers, a group of nondescript soldiers doing stuff in a war scenario, you had famous soldiers learned to match up and got better, basically. But yeah, instead it would be a small group of adventurers. Actually, I can do a little better, like. But yeah, you would have like a small group of adventurers who would go into like a dungeon or something like that, like they do in novel books and Tolkien and stuff like that, and they would have to go into these dungeons, and and rather than having big scale wars, well, it would be more about small skirmishes while surviving life threatening scenarios typical from fantasy novels and cartoon shows and stuff like that. But if Caesar tends to throw, God. And then to that, they will be added like, town scenarios. But players will be able to roleplay with town citizens. They will be able to go shopping. They will learn magic. That is a shit flame. How did I draw a flame so dog shit? There we go. Ugh, this is too thick for a flame. Let's try a bit thinner. That works. But yeah, they will learn magic. They will learn how to use weapons and stuff. Again, I can do better than this. I promise. There we go. Yeah, they will learn to use weapons and such, and basically, guy has focused on making the individual choice aspect of the game more important. I mean, while other people started focused more on the roleplay that war aspect, and that's how we got stuff like Warhammer, where you would have like absurdly a huge amounts of characters just in a giant ass board with like obstacles and like enemy structures and stuff like that, fighting against another huge dumb fucking group of enemies, except that now each character had their own little class and their own little abilities and their own personality traits and their own way of doing things. And you have Soldier B just run up towards a building and just blow himself up against it just so that he could take down enemy communications and shit like that. And then you had the third aspect that runs out of it, which was roleplay as a narrative focused thing, which admittedly started a lot later than the other two, where basically rather than focusing on the character, on the like tactical combat aspect and the individual choice and the well, not the individual choice, but the a very specific problem in Warhammer is, yes, which is why even though it looks very cool, I haven't get invested in it yet. But yeah, on the other side, in a bit more of the more modern TTRPG era, you will have the narrative-driven TTRPGs, where instead of focusing on like specific on developing on like either how the characters interact with specific environments, how they choose to basically play with game-like mechanics in order to in order to play adventures or actually make a story. Instead focuses entirely in the story focuses thing with a group of characters who whose stuff is focused on the branching paths they take and what decisions they make, and how those decisions affect their roles and their interactions with others and stuff like that. And and that would give birth to stuff like the Made in the Apocalypse system or the Blades in the Dark system, which are a lot more Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven would be like Gloomhaven is a bit of a special one because it's more board game than TTRPG. With as it keeps more on the gamey kind of mechanics while keeping the roleplay more as a side thing that the words more as a side thing that basically fits into the game into the fun of the game. So you could call it more of a fourth branch, I guess, which is basically board games. I'm gonna throw the Monopoly hat. That is a shit Monopoly hat. God damn it! I'm doing terrible drawings today. Absolute dog shit. Okay, that's better. But yeah, it would be like basically board games fusing with the TTRPG feel of gameplay and making hybrid games that makes the roleplay aspect with the actual like gameplay focused and rules focused aspect with instead of having a free range of actions for the character to choose with the mechanics bending around to those choices. It's instead about the characters being able to apply roleplay to a strict set of rule sets to bend around their experience with the game. And that's how you would have stuff like Gloomhaven or stuff like yeah, or stuff like what was the other game I have heard of? Damn, I forgot. Oh well, now my brain is deciding not to work. That's a shame. Oh yeah, Mouse Reader. Though I guess Mouse Reader is also more of a TTRPG. It's a bit of both. We do not talk about Fatal. Unless you mean a different Fatal than the one I'm thinking of. But it's where you will develop tabletop game. Let me just I'll just draw. Whoops. I'll just yeah, yeah. There we go. I'll just drop Gloom. But yeah, I could be confusing the name to be fair. Maybe because Fatal is the worst thing that has happened to TTRPGs since Gygax. But yeah. What was my lane train of thought? I forgot. But you would have like basically games where the roleplay fits into the gameplay more than the other way. So it will be super focused on like actual game boards and specific resources represented by game items like cards and dices and tokens and stuff like that. And yeah, the from whoops. And from these like four types of games, everything basically branched out into everything else. So you would have like the super tactical TTRPGs. The worst thing that happened to the reason someone decided to invent them. Basically, yeah. But yeah, from there you would have more branching out things like from narrative TTRPGs, you have journaling TTRPGs, which are solo played tabletop games where the player actually just writes down things in a journal as they explore through the game, and they're made for like for introspection and for developing one's reading skills and stuff like that. They're very fun, although not quite my thing. You'll have oh sorry. You would have things like Made by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark, where the characters are giving set templates for their characters and stuff. And with those templates and a specific pattern of play where players would follow always a specific pattern even through the DM's like carefully made playstyle, they would eventually develop the branching story through how they interact with the pattern, depending on their success or such, deciding how the story progresses, which is something similar to what Fist does. Though Fist is a bit more open in that regard since they have the free trade system and stuff. While in the side of the tactical games, you have the tactical games that focus more on the actual tactical aspect versus those who fo- versus those who focus a bit more into developing like lore and settings and individualistic characteristics to the characters, so that the roleplay is a bit more focused on the battles and stuff. And then we go to the Gygaxian style of play, which is the one we mostly focus on. Like, it's focused on, again, very personal characters built specifically through a set of specific rules in order to make a character that has a set progression style, with with a specific set of skills and such that the character picks in order to face a series of trials that the DM sets for them with a free range of activity. And from there, you would have the most branches out of every one of these, pretty much. You would have on one hand the D&D school of things that stuck generally to the same thing, except but kept constantly changing on the design. So from the small range of decisions that you used to have, you branch out into more decisions with more classes, more races, more stuff like that. So now people could actually play as a fucking elf without having a bajillion fucking disadvantages, or they could play, or instead of just being a wizard, they could now turn out to be a witch or a warlock, and they would have a little familiar, like a little bunny with wings. I'm gonna throw this bunny even if it kills me. A set of quests with dragons, a dragon quest if you will. Amazing. And aside from that, you have more branches on the decisions you could make as mechanics for interacting with people increased, and you didn't have the typical Gygaxian kill everything method and loot as much as you can method of playing. Do, do, do. God, these lines are very thick. I'm gonna make my pen a bit thinner. Do, do, do. Ah, there we go. Borderlands type of D&D games. Oh god, don't remind me of Borderlands. I still think about that goddamn how they could mess everything up about it so hard. And yeah, and also you will have more variety and stuff like in stuff of the type of fantasy it built. So from just generic fantasy with like dragons and elves, they will suddenly start spreading into sci-fi and stuff like that with stuff like Spelljammer, where they will suddenly have like fucking spaceships. Do, 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 pop, pop. Oh god, sorry, my pen is a bit of a mess. Whoops. But yeah, you will have stuff like Spelljammer, stuff like that, or other fantasies like Eberron with their steampunk aesthetic and all that shit. And so, basically, you would have the same type of gameplay, but with so many more options for people to pick for what they wanted to do instead of just the typical fantasy stuff. Meanwhile, others were like, hey, how about we do the opposite of these guys? What if instead of using these mechanics to like build up the players more and such, what if we use them to instead make things as crude as possible? Let's make them build a whole character, give them a whole give them a whole lot of stuff, just really work on that sucker, give them a lot of stats, like give them like 100 skills and stuff like that. Anyways, you see this character. Now let's hang it over a lava pit, ready to kill them at a moment's notice. Like just make sure that this character is as fucked as possible. And thus the Call of Cthulhu and the Call of Cthulhu and Stormbringer style of games were created. Games that focused on realism and on making things as gritty and dangerous as the players as possible, where a character could die at any moment, where characters could go insane. And it would depend on the players and how well they made their characters and how well they played them to survive in order to actually play through the game. This is completely the bookkeeper. Too late. I'm already cutting this this thing. Say goodbye. But yeah, it's a sort of brand of like, Call of Cthulhu and that sort of stuff that builds off being able to make your own character and all that. But instead of focusing it on, a fantasy world where you get to be a hero and you get to be so cool, it's like, why don't you just made a normal ass guy and then made them go through the most horrific shit and see if they survive and how they come out of it? You should play Call of Cthulhu at some point. It's great. Try not to get them killed, basically. And these sort of settings would either be like very standard, like instead of fantasy medieval, it's like low magic or no magic medieval, medieval like fictional world, so it's a real world, stuff like that. And I really do enjoy this sort of game. It's not for everyone, but I really like playing through it, even though I'm barely a player for most of these things. I am the forever GM, master of all games, player of none. And aside from this, you also had the complete opposite, where you have stuff like mutants and masterminds or other games where instead the character you build characters that are basically built for winning. You give them all the power, you make them fucking Super Saiyans and stuff like that. Maybe the TTRPG radio here, but the Flowerful Shift. Hi, Blue Blue, welcome to the thing. It started a bit awkward, but now I'm in full rolling. Also, hi, Nami. I'm gonna need to ask you questions about how to set up a song request thing later, if that's okay. Also, Nick, don't mind me because yeah. But yeah, also if you ever want to go, if you ever want to DM Nick, that would be absolutely lovely. I will take any chance to be a player, any chance, no matter what game. I will play fucking. I will actually play fucking Fatal if anyone actually tries to DM that, even if it's just to point and laugh at them as they get progressively more horrified. God, what a piece of shit system. Maybe tired. Maybe few times talked out loud as it was to call with you, Faye. Bless. Hi, Jerry. Welcome to. How you doing? Maybe you should take a nappy saver if you feel like you're very tired. The rare Jerry approaches. All right, but going back to what I was saying, and yeah, you have like this super powerful shit where all the stars are like 100 on everything, super powerful. Like you're built for winning basically, and it's all about the power fantasy for everyone more than anything. There is already pretty rules light and stuff. Chivo my language assignments done for tomorrow. Fair, but make sure to rest properly after the TTRPG session of today, okay? Go to bed early. Yeah, sorry about that. Train of thought. Where was I at? Like the DM Pathfinder Sunday revive with its turn action system. I need to finish the world I'm working on. Okay, Neo, you want an advice? Instead of trying to build a whole world, like make a general setting, yeah, like with the themes you want, the kind of general things you want. Focus on a single area, like a country or something like that. Trust me on this one. I did that for one of my settings. Went fantastic. I was so happy with how that country came out. In fact, I posted the stuff I wrote about it in the TTRPG channel. It's legitimately one of the things I'm the most proud of. I love everything about that setting. I can't wait to DM it, though I probably will never be able to DM it because everyone wants to play other stuff, but whatever. I can live with this. I can do it. It's fine. I I'm okay. It's not doing a whole world yet. Yeah, no, like I made the mistake of trying to make a whole world before. Never again. I am not doing that shit again. Like it gets so scatterbrained because yeah, no, I have a whole world. Okay, now how do I establish a game on this? I have to write now all a specific set of cities and stuff, and then develop those, and then connect those, and it's like, you know what? Now, I refuse. You have this one like small ass country. Enjoy it. Your characters will probably not have the right to go further than that anyways, unless you really want to go on a pilgrimage. I've also learned that making worlds that are where the land is very hard to traverse and that where places are very disconnected just work very well because it helps make exotic things really feel exotic. Which is why I also really liked my Dalevik setting because again, really cut off place from most of the world. Barely anyone really goes visit there except for the one country that's right next to them. So and that one country is also very isolated within itself because it's in a very large desert, mostly. Yeah, no, like the way I've seen it is like the way I think about it now is like make one country, or make one country, make the immediate countries related to those, and then if you want to make any other far off lands from where cool, interesting, and exotic things may come from. So, for example, if you want to have guns in your setting, but you want them to be super rare and like a super crazy thing for people to see, just make some land, far off land, off into the ocean from where people with guns come, and just have some people who are like colonizers or explorers, and they just appear with fucking a revolver in their hand. And everyone's like, oh my god, that's crazy, what does that do? Bang, bang. And you can always make the map first and then see what happens everywhere. And still, even making a world map is a big fucking pain in the ass. So it's always funny because also making a world map is a bit of a mess because you're like, oh, I need to make this, I need to make this geography realistic. But it's like, okay, but what does realistic mean? Because our world is fucking wonky because of how exactly it functions with tectonic plates and such. So you just have like entire networks of mountains that connect without stop because a bunch of countries are just getting squished together while another country is just being split apart by tectonic plates, and so it's just like just have this whole like spider web of mountains, and it's like, and then you have like the smallest pocket that's just a jungle in the middle for some reason. That's the weirdest thing. Technically, one country is a big alliance, Storm Kingdom. I could focus on the place where the one shot. Yeah, okay, so for that specifically, like if you're making like one big like kingdom or empire, like say Tamriel from Elder Scrolls, focus on one region. Focus on your Skyrim or your Citadel or your Elsewhere or something like that. I think that's the best idea. Like instead of focusing on the big picture, focus on like one important spot of that place, and then from there you can think on how does this place interact with that other place, what relationships do they have, what kind of people come from this place to this other place. That is its own set of wonkiness, which is why I'm using it as an example, because it's a wonky ass place and each game focuses on one region specifically for that same reason. So yeah, no, like make one region, and from there you can be like, okay, what regions would this one interact with the most often? Okay, what kind of interactions are these? Okay, what kind of people would come from those other regions? Oh gods, now that's an interesting one. I've had a lot of cool ideas, specifically with Cogitos. I love the gods I made there, and I'm sad because I will probably never get to use them because that setting is a goddamn mess, to say the least. I'm definitely gonna have to rework it on some way, shape, or form. Ugh. Oh, sorry. Like legit, I made this super cool deity system, but then it's like, man, I have to think on how every single one of these countries interact with it, and then have to have them all have they do their own shit, and like it's like, whoa, maybe I should just do something else. I 100% have to retcon at some point, but less. But yeah, I wish you the best. If you don't need any tips, like you can come ask me. I have like 5 years of doing this shit of experience. That those have to be worth for something. I haven't really officially published anything yet because my writing style is a goddamn mess. But yeah, let's go back to the conversation I was having before as we started talking about world building. I will do a world building talk some other time. And believe me, I will not stop with that one. I have a lot of. I have multiple dozens of pages on Delevic for a reason. The RPG dating sim. I mean, that already exists, Saber. There's plenty of those. Like, there's a lot of those. uh, but yeah. The whoops. I didn't mean to do that. The last one. Uh, there is. Yeah, there's a lot. Hell, I have one of those. Like, I have one that is called like my date with a goblin girl or something. But yeah, the last one is the short styled TTRPG, where the game is basically built around having very small scenarios where you can make like a one shot character or just a character that's made for like, these short sort of scenarios, and they just kind of, they go to from one short thing to another. Oops. And then from one short thing to another, and from one short thing to another. Maybe these two short things interact with each other, and they make a different short thing. That kind of stuff. It's kind of like how Gloomhaven works, but in an actual TTRPG form rather than just the game form, basically. But anyways, that brings us to the crux of what the conversation started. This section of TTRPGs, the D&D stuff, they want to make you believe that D&D is like the super tactical one, like the D&D is like, give me a second. The D&D is like the king. They are, oh, look at their halo. They're so cool. Oh, they have angel wings. Oh my god, they're so cool, and they have so many good rules for combat. They are so tactical. They are, no, fuck that. D&D has D&D is not a tactical game for the very simple reason that in most of the games, except for like fourth edition, roleplay is a key part of how combat plays out, because you can't because someone can say like, oh, I want to grab this chair and like toss it to this person, and the DM will be like, well, let me check the rules if there is something about doing that, and then they'll be like, well, shit, there is not an actual rule about how to use an improvised weapon as a ranged weapon, or what their distance is and such, unless you have a very specific feat, which, in most cases doesn't make sense. Why would you need to have a specific feat just to throw a chair? And so in that case, you suddenly have to wait in roleplay and stuff like that. And then you also have the fact that, in general, the mechanics of D&D, ever since, like, again, 4th edition is the exception, because 4th edition is the most compact and well-balanced cube you could ever imagine. Like, 4th edition, you could throw out of a building and it would land on its feet with no problem. It is absolutely sparkling in its mechanics, but in exchange, it sacrifices a lot of the versatility and the roleplay of the original game, which is generally why it got, shafted. It got thrown into the trash. Like, people just didn't want to play it because they were like, oh, it's not D&D. Why can I not play a strength drug? Why can I not play this and that? Another more primera giant has a tight grip on the power concerns and nothing else. Like, tough. Yeah, no, like that's the main problem with D&D, in my opinion. Like most people don't hear about other games, and then when they want, they get to about other games, are saying like, oh, but I use D&D for everything. Why would I need to change this game? My and my friends have so much fun. It's like, okay, but do you not think that spending the time on a different game that may also be fun could be good? It's like, no, we don't have any time to learn a new game. It's like, but you do have time to play D&D. Like you should have at least a few days to like parse through a manual. No, 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 no. We can only play D&D. We are gonna turn fifth edition into a lawyer game. We're gonna turn it into a dating sim. And it's like God. D&D is popular mostly because of how easily accessible. It's accessible, but it's not at the same time because. Oh God, give me a second. I need to catch up with chat. It is someone so it's all the round on the next. No, fourth edition is not an all-rounder. It is the only tactical D&D game. It is the only D&D game that can actually call itself a tactical combat game. No, D&D really promotes picture tactical images. It does though. Like Saber, that's the thing. Like D&D promotes itself as like the be-all end-all. Like you can make super tactical RPG because we have so many rules about combat. You can make and we have this grid system and so on and so forth. And it's like no, like they try to sell themselves as this basically be-all end-all to RPGs, and most people believe that, and thus believe that D&D is a good tactical combat game. It's fucking not. It fucking isn't. Like, because again, a lot of the rules are very vague in order to allow for roleplay or for people to do stuff that may not be in the rules without giving much of a thing to the DMs, without realizing that by doing that they actually put more load into the DMs because now they have to make up the rules for that. And so after that, now they have to figure that shit out while also having to pacify their players and not pissing them off because, oh no, why can I not do this thing, or why can this guy do this thing but I cannot, blah blah blah. And that problem reaches crescendo with 5th edition, where the rules are just nothing. They're half of the rules are more suggestions than actual rules, and the DM just basically has to figure that shit out. At least with 3.5 edition, they actually had a lot of rules to back the game up, and just left enough baked for the DM to basically figure that out. And that is why 3.5 is my favorite edition of D&D, because it gave variety without actually stifling character creativity like the Gygax editions did, because they suck ass. Like, what do you mean elves have limited amount of levels? Fuck you. But anyways, house rules run supreme no matter what. Yeah. But the thing is, when you force the DMs to make everything house rules, it stops being about fun. It starts becoming a task for the DMs to do, and that's exactly why I stopped DMing in 5th edition, because I hated that shit. I hated having to fix like half of the shit that I had to figure out for the game. But yeah, no, like I was saying, because of these bigness of the rules, basically most of the D&D games, they're not tactical. They are like, they have some level of tactics, obviously, because it's a grid-based game where you go and smack some goblins silly, and you go like, oh, I'm gonna shoot a fireball over here, and then my friend is gonna do a suplex over here, and blah blah blah. But that level of tactics is stifled because the game, in of itself, use tactics in order to make the game quote unquote accessible, which it's basically means making it more comfortable for players at the expense of the DM's work. No, the thing is, the problem with 5th edition in general is that it just doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be structured, but it also wants to be freeform. It wants to have the cool tactical elements that 4th edition has, but then removes all the things that allow those cool tactical elements because they're too afraid to actually take a risk, and instead they try to slap on 3.5 edition stuff. But of course, to make that 3.5 edition stuff mesh with the 4th edition stuff, suddenly you have to make a bunch of concessions, and then the language gets big, so maybe the word undetected doesn't mean the same thing for one section and for another section, or the word within sight changes depending on one thing or another, and so on and so forth. So 5th edition just kind of has the problem that because it was trying to basically become a rescue from 4th edition, and it was trying to get as much mass appeal as possible, it became a bit of a mess, basically. Again, and that's the main difference, because 3.5 edition knew what it wanted to be. It wanted to be a game big on choice, big on classes, big on races, and it wanted to basically make as many rules as possible, as many things as the players could do, to have as much freedom as possible while the players were still playing with a sentiment similar to the second edition. Because second edition was also a big about like freedom of choice, but with very specific limitations. And then fourth edition basically hard veered into a different direction, and instead of focusing on character choice and stuff, it focused on tactics and on smart play and on understanding of one character's abilities. Which is why fourth edition is the only tactic. It's D&D tactics. Fourth edition is basically D&D tactics. Yeah, you see, Nick, that's the thing. Pathfinder follows the route of 3.5 edition. It gives you a broad range of options that are specifically specified within the rules. So it allows you to play with those things while also interacting with the game in a meaningful way. That's why Pathfinder feels better in that regard, because the options for the players are actually taken into account. It's not like for example, let's compare like a level up in D&D with a level up in Pathfinder. Speaking of, that's quite the fitting timing. In D&D, for example, let's say a paladin, you get find steed, and then you get like a bunch of skills and a bunch of powers. Why do you get find steed? Because D&D is trying to emulate a certain flavor of character that is the knight on shining armor with the mount and stuff. Okay, what does that actually do for the combat? It gives them a mount, but you can already do that in other ways, and the mount is not that useful in D&D because all it does is give you extra movement. And give you the extra movement of the mount and the ability to maybe have more actions. But mounting in general is a bit of a it's more of a convenience more than an actual mechanic. And so Fine Mount, it tries to appeal to to the flavoring of the game and the mechanics, and not the mechanics, but and the roleplay. But it doesn't meaningfully become a part of the mechanics themselves, because again, you're just getting a mount, which isn't all that important, especially when the mount doesn't have any special mechanics. Meanwhile, in Pathfinder, when you get a level up, you specifically get things that will be flavorful for your thing. Like for example, with the with the witch, you get the feat to give your familiar more power so they can fight. What does that do actually mechanically? It actually increases the amount of spells in your repertoire. It actually gives your familiar a special action that allows you to command your familiar to do a certain amount of actions. And stuff like that. Yeah, the Cavalier is a fighter that mounts, but the Paladin gets specifically a mount for free. But yeah, that's the main difference. Like, D&D gives options to create a flavor and to basically, you know, make a thing give a vibe, but they don't actually combine that flavor with the mechanics. The mechanics are the base of the game, and then they put things on top of that base. I mean, well, Pathfinder base is a mesh. You have the cables of the actual base mechanics, and then those cables are interconnected with the cables of the actual player mechanics, and the cables of the DM mechanics, and the cables of the monster mechanics. So some abilities may feel a bit weaker for some players or a bit less interesting, but that's because those mechanics are built to actually be meaningful in the game or to actually have an important place in them. So when you actually, when you actually get a beast as a ranger, or when you actually get a familiar upgrade as a witch, or when you actually get a weapon, a special weapon attack as a fighter, those things are actually meaningful things that are specifically built into the gameplay. So that vast range of options actually feels a lot more important because you're actually choosing how to interact with the game directly. While as a fighter, you could choose to be a samurai, and you could still play the game like you're a fucking barbarian, just acting like you are attacking over and over again in a fit of rage. It doesn't actually affect really how you interact with the game, because you can still just run towards the enemy and attack as much as you can with that fighter, even if you are a samurai or a champion or whatever. Meanwhile in Pathfinder, it's like, oh, you want to specialize in two-weapon fighting and in fading your enemy. Do you want to specialize in one-weapon fighting and maybe focus on disarming and stuff? Do you want to focus on two-handed fighting and try to focus on keeping your enemy down and dealing as much damage as possible? Do you want to focus on shield fighting? Meanwhile, the extent of that in D&D is you get one ability that allows you to protect your allies once per turn. That's it. And if you're a paladin, you also get a spell for that. Good job. Like, D&D doesn't actually apply mechanics for those flavors. The flavor is piled on top of the mechanics, basically. And so because of that, the tactics aspect just fizzles out. Because it's fucking hard to build an tactics aspect on a thing that half of it is made up and the other half it just isn't specifically built in for the game's pacing. Hell, magic items aren't even an inherent rule for 5th edition specifically. They're optional. Magic fucking items are optional in D&D in 5th edition. Which is why the monk gets the magical strikes, even though they could also just get a rubs of mighty blows. Because the rubs of mighty blows are fucking optional. And the monk being able to actually do magic damage is supposed to be a special thing, except that it's not. Because of course it isn't. Because that flavor is again not taken into account with the mechanics of the game where half of the monsters have resistance to non-magical damage. I know about the these fine is that one day I look at what you can summon a and then it's a giant dog. Yeah, the giant dog has been a thing since like the original edition because there are mounts for halflings, dwarves, and stuff like that. Well, no, for dwarves it's ponies, but for halflings and gnomes they have like mount dogs basically. But yeah, like I was saying, because of all that, most of the D&D is just it's just not that tactic. Well, 4th edition, because it actually focuses on making the not so much flavor it has for the players into actual mechanics and stuff, it actually comes out as the most tactical. I would like to be a month for another thing about it. And again, that would be that would play very different from D&D because in D&D you just make your mount move. That's it. Maybe it can just act in your turn independently from you. Meanwhile, Pathfinder, you actually have a specific set of mechanics and actions specifically made for training animals, for guiding mounts, and for all that stuff. And once you get good with that, you can actually become a terrifying fucking player because you can have like a chimera mount, use one action to order them to move and then attack someone, and while they're mounting someone, then you attack them with your spear and shit like that. Like Pathfinder is so well made for experimenting, while D&D just isn't because. And none of that makes it more clear than the fact that the same fucking broken mechanic has been broken since the very beginning until 2024 edition, where they actually changed the mechanics finally, where the fucking Warlock Paladin combo is the best combo in the game, or the Warlock Sorcerer. Because again, the way the mechanics are mixed with the flavor of the characters is not done well. I just said Saber. Yes, there is plenty of mount-based options in Pathfinder. Basically you can be like a ranger and with that you get a free control of, you can get the specific subclass that freely controls animals and stuff to get a mount easier, or you can play a fighter and just train a mount with the abilities that are there for downtime for training animals in order to actually have a properly functional mount, or you can be a sorry, you can be a champion that actually can get like their own special stuff depending on their oath, or you can become or you can hell you could become a wizard and use a summon as a mount if you want. And yeah, you have also archetypes, which again another option which is you can exchange class points, or you use free archetypes, just get for free special side classes that just add more flavor and more mechanics to your character. Like, do you want to be a gladiator, which specializes in using charisma during combat to gain an advantage? Do you want to be a wrestler that specializes in tripping, grabbing, and shoving enemies? Like, it's just cool. Ah. Ta 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 ta. But yeah, no, Saber, there's the Cavalier archetype, I think. Specifically. Ah, jeez. I really started talking a frenzy there, sorry. But yeah, all that goes into the fact that while D&D stewed away most of the tactical aspect of 4th edition and most of the combining flavor with mechanics after 3.5 to try to make something that was generally appealing, but that nowadays we can really see how hard it flopped, especially with how terrible the most recent manuals are. Pathfinder, which was originally born from 4th edition, funny enough. Do you want to be Lucky Luke, Mr. God, Lucky Luke? God, I miss that shit. But yeah, quick lesson in history. Basically, back when 4th edition was made, D&D basically pulled the same shit that they tried to pull with 5th edition, where they pulled out a bunch of licenses to screw people so that only they would be able to make D&D content, and that included Paizo's license for Dragon Magazine, which was a magazine that they were making about D&D and stuff, where they added new supplements and stuff, like they made supplements for 3.5 and stuff. And now suddenly they couldn't do that anymore because Wizards of the Coast said, you know what? No, you don't get to make money off of D&D. And so from there, Paizo was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna take the experience I have from making my own fucking like rules and stuff. I'm gonna make Pathfinder. Whoops. There. And build pipe buster. What? Oh, pile bunker. God. Ouch, my mouth hurts. But yeah, basically Python, we was used before, like I said, making magazines for D&D and stuff. When their licenses got pulled out unfairly by Wizards of the Coast, they decided, you know what? Fuck you, we're gonna make our own game. Because 4th edition sucks anyways, because you don't have any options for players. They have to play one specific way or else they die. And so Pathfinder was made to basically become a successor to 3.5 edition. And it was fucking successful. It made a shit ton of content. It made a bunch of changes that actually improved on 3.5. They made their own setting. They made their own personality and such. And for years, they were basically the best competitor the Dungeons and Dragons had, especially while 4th edition was dying in a corner. Of course, after that, 5th edition happened, and so Pathfinder slowly started declining ever so slightly in popularity. As first edition of Pathfinder just eventually had to stop having as many new things, as content obviously reached its clear end. Da, 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 da. Sorry, was reading with you guys real quick. But yeah, but eventually they started working on 2nd edition, and they literally did the opposite that 5th edition did. While for 1st edition they went along with 3.5, while D&D kept going in the same direction, they decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go a different direction. And thus, 2nd edition was born for Pathfinder. A 2nd edition that instead of stewing 4th edition as a failure, they actually took stuff that came from it. They took stuff like specific specific cooldowns for certain abilities that made it so certain abilities were for combat rounds, while others were for days, others were for just a round itself and stuff like that. They took from them the stronger, like, what's the word? CP. They took the stronger, like, class-based system, though in 4th edition it was basically 4 classes with the con the control DPS. I'm gonna make this bigger. Give me a second. There. with the control, the DPS, well, damage, D4 damage. You have control damage, you had leader, and you have the tank. And they decided, you know what? Let's work on this and make it more varied. So now and they started branching out from that. So you'll have the skill monkeys like the rogues. You'll have the main healers like the clerics. You would have the main supports like bards. You would have the main the main debuffers like witches. You would have characters focused specifically on high risk, high reward, like the Oracle. You would have characters that were basically burned through the action economy in exchange for super high DPS, like the Maguses. And this whole system, this whole thing was coalesced perfectly into an incredibly tactical and easy to use system by just one simple thing. Just the best thing I have ever seen in my days of playing TTRPGs. The 3 motherfucking action system. Where instead of having the mess that D&D kept evolving into, where you have like, oh, you have like one main action, and then you have one bonus action that's smaller. You have one reaction that's even like super special duper. You have your and stuff like that. You instead have like, oh, and you have like your movement stuff. Your movement, which is a part. Although movement used to be a movement action before, but we decided fuck it. Why would we give our players options? Let's just make movement its own thing, so we don't have any variety with how to use movement. Let's completely screw up the jumping system. Meanwhile, Pathfinder was like, you wanna move? That's one action. You wanna you wanna attack? That's another. Yeah, that's another action. You wanna fucking you wanna cast a spell? For that spell, what spell are you trying to cast? Magic missile? That'll be 2 actions, baby. You wanna use this super special skill from your class that allows you to suplex an enemy from 60 meters in the air and slam them into the ground? That'll be 3 whole actions for the whole thing, baby. Wait, let me see if I can do the pose with stick figures real quick. Perfect. Oops. But yeah, and basically everything was balanced around this 3 action system. So the power of if a skill was more powerful than others, you could just balance it by giving it more actions than those other skills. You could balance things around like, oh, you wanna move this specific way that allows you to be undetected? Well, your movement action now gives you half movement because you're sneaking. Or you wanna cast this one super powerful spell? Well, this spell actually takes 2 sets of 3 actions to cast, actually to cast it at full power. Or you want to use, or you want to do a combo of tripping an enemy and then attacking it? Well, for every action you use attacking, you stack penalizers to that action, so that you can just spam actions into attacking to do max DPS or something like that, etc. and etc. And because of this whole thing combined together, you basically have an almost perfect system because obviously it's not perfect. It has plenty of failures like any other system because humans are fallible. That's just how it is. But basically, you would have this whole system where you know, the language words, where you would have an insane range of options, an insane range of actions, an insane amount of combinations to choose, all packed together into a pretty balanced system. Obviously, again, not perfectly balanced, but more balanced than pretty much most other systems that have tried to do the same at this point. and and this basically allows for the insane amount of player creativity that 3.5 had, while also having almost the same tactical tightness that 4th edition have, because at the same time, instead of making big decisions for extra options or stuff like that, they instead try to pack as many types of things into actions as possible. So you wanna push an enemy, that's a shove action. You you wanna throw you wanna throw an improvised weapon, then then improvised weapons are a specific type of weapon with a specific type of proficiency, and they have a specific amount of range because they're improvised weapons. You wanna you want to like what the other example I was gonna use? You want to investigate that one monster to see if it has any weaknesses. Well, that's a recall knowledge action. So you want to use whatever skill is related to that monster, like religion or occultism or arcana and such, to learn about that monster or stuff like that. I guess. And basically, what Paizo did is, instead of trying to make a big network, to allow a big like layout to try to make people make as much as they wanted, even if it's gonna be unbalanced as hell, they instead try to apply as many options as possible to the game with the effort it took. And because of that, you had a satisfying tactical experience, while also having an insane amount of options. Hell, even more options than 5th edition at this point, because for some reason this system is more than 10 years old and they barely have released manuals. Which I still don't fucking understand. Like D&D, you have your cold egg goose and you decide to just waste it like this. Such a waste. Such a like. I mean, while Python is over here, like releasing awakened animals, new classes, new types of dragons. They remastered the whole thing because you decided to change your licenses, and they even made the game better with that remaster, except for oracles. That is the one class I don't like how they have changed. Please let me continue sabotaging myself with my class. Yeah, 5e has less manuals than Pathfinder 2nd edition. Like, way less. Like, most like, at least manuals that aren't, like, setting specific, because, D&D has, like, Ravnica, Teros, blah, 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 but, like, that's a specific setting. Those are not the general rules. Most people are not even gonna hear about those. Especially when some of them fucking suck, like, goddamn, what was the name? Space Jammer, where they placed a racist caricature for some reason as a race. I still don't know why. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah, no, like, Paizo just constantly kept releasing content for players and DMs with the Game Mastery Guide, Advanced Player's Handbook, specific, like, Lost Omens booklets for, like, new classes or new class options and stuff like that. As well as their own adventure paths, which also gave new options for players. And so eventually, the Pathfinder 2nd edition just has more options for players than 5th edition for that simple fact. Especially now that half of the content of 5th edition is basically incompatible, because you tell me how the fuck you're gonna make the 2024 rules compatible with the normal rules. Like the medias, it's a nice way to keep toys recover and progress repeats. Glad you enjoyed, Jerry. I'm glad you were here to see me go into an absolute insane rant about my taste on games. God. I'll see you later. Enjoy your day. But yeah, no. As I was saying, also, since I'm talking about adventure paths, D&D has some of the worst. God, it's amazing. Ramble God. D&D has some of the worst fucking like modules for adventures and stuff I have ever seen in my life. Like, how is a DM supposed to keep track of some of this shit? I am so pissed off whenever I remember how I had to take care of Tomb of Annihilation. Like, why would you do this to your DMs? Why? Oh my god. And let's not talk about God the Dragon Heist and Tomb of the Dragon Queen. Specifically Tomb of the Dragon Queen. Like, okay, so, a bit of history. Let me just... Let us move over to the 5e corner again. Real quick. So, in 5e, the first module ever they made as a sort of playtest for the game was Tomb of the Dragon Queen, which is a story about like cultists, very spooky masked cultists who are basically doing evil shit to summon Tiamat. You know, the multi-headed puppy that is awaiting in Avernus. Sometimes I amaze myself with how bad I am at making shapes. Oops. Very angry dragon lady with many heads. Very evil. Very Avernus. I know it looks like a Hydra, but, you know, I'm not going to try to actually accurately depict the 5 types of chromatic dragons. Leave me alone. Wasn't it the one where I second play puts a player against a big strong? Oh, did Pain tell you about the monster? I was about to talk about that because I'm going on a rant over this setting, over this thing. So yeah, you have this cultist, trying to summon a big ass dragon queen of death. You know how the setting starts? The players are helping a caravan across across a path, covering it and stuff. And then they see a conflict going out in a nearby town. The town of Greenest, I think it was called. So, this town is like under attack. There are many very mean people and attacking the town and stuff. And the players decide to ditch their job and just go help that town that is currently under siege with dozens, hundreds of enemies causing trouble on it. And reminder, these are level 1 characters. So you have the players who, they just fuck this job. Doesn't matter. Money? My character doesn't care about money. What do you mean my character does? No, they don't. Your character now only cares about being altruistic. Because the game says so. You haven't been warned about this, but that's what happens. So, you make your way to the town, and now you have to spend fucking days fighting against cultists without being able to rest. Which, again, level 1 characters. In order to save as many people as possible, you have to do a bunch of encounters without resting, basically. So again, off to a great start. And eventually, you have 2 events happening in the town. First off, once you rescue as many civilians as possible, you get seats in the fortress that is in the town. And a fucking dragon appears. Not a young dragon, no. An adult blue dragon appears. Just like a mid level, like a 10th level or so monster, the size of a fucking building, with horns ready to pierce through the ground and stuff like that, and that throws lightning. Flies over the goddamn village, and you know what the game does. Once the players deal like 20 damage or so, the dragon just leaves. It just gets annoyed and leaves. Yeah, no, these cultists are very focused on summoning Tiamat. Yeah, I see. Yeah, nah. Anyways, so after that, you have to fight the captain of the enemies, who is a level 3 bitch that can basically instantly kill most players with a good roll, and it's supposed to be a one-on-one fight for one of the players in exchange for saving the civilians. Yeah, good fucking luck with that. So, anyways, after all that bullshit, the characters are tasked with saving someone from the camp where the cultists are. So you know how you the big old camp with a bunch of tents and stuff. Like, oh well, this is our torture tent, and there's a little cave over here. Because the captain basically is challenging the strongest of the fighters in the fortress to a one-on-one duel in exchange for sparing the lives of the civilians, basically. As like I said, the fortress is under siege. So yeah, you have like this challenge rating 3 captain challenging a level 1 player to a one-on-one. Good luck. But anyways, going back to this, you have the camp, right? And the players can like, oh, let's disguise ourselves, or oh, let's sneak around. No. They rescue the guy. And then the guy tells them that there is something very fucky or wacky going in the cave. So, friends, let me tell you, this fucking cave is goddamn ginormous and it's a goddamn pain to go through. So first off, there's a secret path that for some reason leads to a room filled with like dozens of cultists. Like an absolute mess of cultists sleeping in there. And if you fail your stealth roll, yeah, those guys are coming for you. Then after that, you have to go through a path filled with deadly mushrooms while trying to sneak around so that the people ahead of you don't hear you. And then after that, you have to deal with a whole army of kobolds and dragonborn and cultists, with some of the kobolds being able to fly and dropping bombs on top of the players. So, the only reason why we won that fight, in our case, is because we basically started the fight. You know, we were like somewhere around here or something, and there was a staircase here from where the moment the fight was started. Yeah, flying kobolds. That's an actual thing. Winged kobolds. They're like the coolest of the kobolds. But you know, once the fight starts, there is this ladder here, and if you make noise, obviously people from up there come down. So instead of fighting the like 5 or 6 motherfuckers that were down here, you have a whole entourage of another 5 or 6 motherfuckers up here waiting to come down. So you wanna know how we dealt with that? So you know, my character just luckily had flaming sphere, so just put a giant old ball of fire on the staircase so no one would be able to go through for a few turns, basically. And that was it. That was the only way we managed to get through that fight, because good god. And after that, you enter in a room that has acid traps. You know, like you go up, you fight the other group, and up there you have a room filled with acid traps where you fight a dragonborn soldier and the half dragon captain of the cultists, while dealing with acid traps and these 2 motherfuckers. Yeah, no, one of our characters died in there. The poor Paco. He tried his best. And you wanna know what? That was not the end of it. Because after that we had to go further down into a cave where there was even more cultists and a giant aberration stalactite that usually is hostile to the players and its challenge rating of 5. I repeat, this monster is meant to be fought by a full party of level 5 players. We were level 2 at the time, I think. So yeah, basically Payne decided to just not make this monster hostile, because otherwise we would have died. And so we dispatched this last group of things, we destroyed the dragon eggs that are being held in this cave, and we go out. And you wanna know what's waiting for us in our epic adventure after that? if you thought it was a whole month of traveling with a caravan where the DM is basically supposed to wing like half of the events in order to not make it fucking boring, you are goddamn right, my dear watcher. And that's basically where we left it, because Payne kinda got burnt out of running that thing. Like, it was legit going with a caravan of a bunch of merchants for a whole month in order to travel over to Waterdeep, while trying to insert our own character stuff, because, he was trying to make our character backstories actually matter, and also while trying to actually working some other interesting stuff of his own to make the travel actually interesting. So yeah, that was Payne's experience. Now let's go talk about mine. So, have you guys ever heard about Tomb of Annihilation? Because boy, let me tell you, I cannot forget Tomb of Annihilation. So, Neo, do you like continents? Do you like islands? Well, what if I gave you an entire island-sized hex map? Just a giant ass hex of this one island. And the DM is supposed to run exploration on this island-sized exploration hex map where every single interesting location is scattered across multiple chapters of the book, and where you also have to keep track of a timer that is completely stacked against the players, might I say, and while also trying to somehow guide the players over to the super hidden objective where the actual target of the game is, while also having to set up like multiple different side storylines are happening at the same time between ice giants invading the island, the colonizers trying to obtain certain samples, the cultists trying to kidnap people in order to heal their ailing cultist lord, and a Syrax fucking dungeon, which is its own fucking thing, just trying to suck souls to summon an actual embodiment of death. No, it's not a hidden timer. You know there's a timer. It's just that the timer is absolute bullshit. Like, you have a limited amount of days to explore, except that you have no clue. You have to go over to this side of the island, and you have this whole other section of island you have to explore, and all of those take a long time to walk around, because you can only walk around a certain amount of miles per day, and also every certain amount of miles we have a special event like a hack that tries to attack the enemy the team, or dungeons that the team may want to explore for loot, or special encounters that may take multiple days out of the players. So yeah, the players are encouraged to explore, but also fuck you for exploring, because then you get a worse ending if you take time exploring. And also, a quick reminder, during this campaign, no player character can be revived, because the island of Chult is cursed by the soulmonger that sucks the soul out of any creature that dies, and that sucks the life out of anyone that has been revived. So your character cannot be revived if they die. So instead you have to make a new character, and you now have also a timer for not having your character also die forever. Well, the thing is, that's the main premise of the game. You're exploring this island because there are people who have been revived and who are now losing their life, because the island is again trying to suck the soul out of anyone who has been revived recently. And because of that, that's why the characters are motivated to do the thing, and why they have a timer. Except that the timer also means that the characters cannot be revived, because again, anything that dies gets its soul instantly sucked into the fucking soulmonger. So fuck you if you were attached to this character. You better beat the game in less than 30 days, or that character is gone forever. In order to be able to be played again. I just have so many choice words. And also, I have not played this one, but there's another one. I think it's called like Mines of Fandelver, where the players have to do an encounter with a super dangerous dragon that will basically murder the shit out of them. And for some reason, the dragon is only made to be fought. You know, dragons, these super intelligent creatures that can be talked with and reasoned with. No, you don't get to. There's no rules. There's no information about how its personality is. There's no information about what anything the players may use to avoid it. They just have this super impossible fight that will just pop out of them at them, and they have no way to avoid it because the game just has nothing specifically set for them to avoid it. I know, right, Neo? I think the same thing. Like, why would you put a time limit in an exploration of an actual fucking island with a bunch of interesting landmarks? Like, yes, sure, egging on the players into wanting to find the thing as fast as possible makes sense because that way it is replayable and stuff. But also, like, why? Like, there's better ways to make a timer, or just make a timer that's more fair. So why? It's fucking crazy that to this age, I think Curse of Strahd is the only good campaign. And it still sucks in a certain way because Strahd, for some reason, this super dangerous vampire that was trapped in his own personal pocket dimension because of how dangerous he was, is built for a low level party. Like, why is Strahd so made for a low level party? I'm so confused. Like, why isn't Curse of Strahd a story about super, like, high and mighty adventurers getting humbled by the horrors of Barovia? Why is it about a bunch of low-level adventurers getting their ass handed to them by it instead? No, that's the thing. Count Strahd is at his strongest now than ever in Barovia, where there is no sun that can affect him, and where he is a true master of the realm. His only weakness is his death wife, which is what the players are supposed to use to defeat him. But the guy also has crap fucking stats. Like, I'm talking below 10th level type of ordeal for his stats. You know, weaker than most creatures that would actually would be supposed to be trapped in a place like that. I don't know. I just. I just have so many hangups with D&D, which is why I'm not DMing that shit anymore. I'm happy for Spec for being able to homebrew it to his cards content. I will only play through that. I am not playing anything else. Yeah, I guess this is that branch of conversation done. Jeez. Oh, that was a intense conversation for sure. Look at my little dungeon. Uh my glass of water is empty. Give me a second, I'm gonna refill it. Uh-huh. Alright, I'm back. Ah, Curse of Strahd, more like Curse of Pits, baby. The most dangerous part of Curse of Strahd is its beginning, and its middle, and its end. No, like Curse of Strahd is a good campaign. That's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm sure pretty much everyone agrees with. Like it's the one super good campaign for D&D, basically. Uh, but I kinda ran out of thread to go on for that topic. Neo, do you have anything you want me to talk about? Whether it be about other systems I like, Pathfinder, D&D. What's the Tiamat one called? Tiamat has two. It has Rise of Tiamat. No. Well, yeah. Yeah. Jeez. Uh, Horde of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat. Those are the two she has. Oh boy. I have never spoken so quickly all by myself for so long. Can I talk about Ultimate as a girl failure who cannot get 1W? Eh, I mean, there's not much to say. She gets her ass handed to her by by a Bahamut in the inception of time. She then tries to take over Hell. She also gets her ass handed to her. She just becomes kind of just the proxy Cerberus for Avernus. And it's trapped forever in Hell until someone summons her because again, it's Hell. I mean, she could be worse of a she could be worse of a care failure. She could be the previous leader of Hell that got kicked out by the current one. Well, not Hell, Avernus. But honestly, the planner stuff is like the least interesting part of Forgotten Realms lore for me. Because, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, a piece is made from the seed of evil, from where demons pop out of, and they are super evil, especially Orcus. Look at his crazy skull wand. And the devils are a fucking. They are a scam company with the CEO Asmodeus. Which also makes me think. It's honestly it's so hard for someone new to D&D to catch up with actual Forgotten Realms lore nowadays because so much of it is stuck in like the actual lore from previous editions, like stuff like the goblins that used to be Fae and then basically had their god murdered and got taken over by a different god, so now they became all evil and shit. And how the gnomes got locked forever, the god of the kobolds and stuff. Like, most people are not gonna know that kind of shit. They're just gonna read, like, kobolds dislike gnomes, are gonna like, alright then, sure. Like, so much of the lore at this point is, like, locked behind years and editions of the game. So, yeah, that kind of sucks, but, like, to be fair, which is why I mostly care about like the real world of Faerun in the Forgotten Realms because Faerun is pretty cool, especially with places like Waterdeep, and it's Beholder mafioso. That's cool. That's a cool concept. To make a warlock that serves Tiamat not because they are evil, but has very passive, but it just felt bad for her. Hell, stuff like Baldur's Gate is a lot more fun. Even with the planar stuff, just because it's like, yes, Baldur's Gate is just yeah, there's a beholder mafioso. Sanathar, his name is the leader of the main like mafia of Waterdeep. So yeah, Waterdeep have basically a bunch of criminal rings running under it. One of those is led by a super paranoid beholder who has as his only trusted confidant his pet fish. And his employees are constantly having to switch that pet fish whenever he dies, so that Sanathar doesn't go into a frenzy. And Sanathar just sees this pet fish as the only creature who comes close to his perfection. So yeah, that's that. Like I said, the actual most of the lore in Faerun is super good, and that's mostly thanks to Ed Greenwood, I think was his name, who is actually a really cool dude who wrote most of that lore. But now nowadays, most of that lore isn't even focused on because then it's too busy instead doing crossovers with other things that don't even fucking matter, like Magic the Gathering settings and stuff like that. Like, yeah, woohoo, Ravnica, so cool. How about you actually just give us a new setting instead of just copy pasting stuff from a different setting that doesn't even fit that much D&D? Like you have Eberron. How about you give us Eberron? Oh, you gave us Eberron. Oh, how nice. Wait, that's it? What do you mean that's it? And yeah, that's on and so forth. It's like, oh, you get one Eberron book. Oh, you get one Spelljammer book, and it's fucking shit. Oh, you get one and you have this Ravnica book, have this Theros book. And it's like, you could just focus on the settings you already have, or hell, make new settings. Why aren't you just adding Magic the Gathering stuff? I don't care. Oh wow, you added centaurs through a fucking Magic the Gathering setting. How about you just add them as a thing in D&D? Huh? No? Okay. And so on and so forth. They had a League of Legends crossover, yeah, but that wasn't even that much of a thing, just classes and stuff. Like, bleh. And besides, League of Legends is bleh. I don't want to think about it. Yeah, no, there's like the Trickster, there's the Gunslinger lady, blah 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 blah. I don't know. It's all just. It's also the fact that so much of this content is based on things that already exist from other games, instead of them making their own thing. Like, it's the lack of creative flair on it. Like, you could have made a card drawing thing that is specifically like D&D flavored. No, instead you just get Twisted Fate as a as a goddamn class because fuck you. And it just pisses me off because it's like this like there are clearly creative people in this team, but they're clearly not being listened to. And it sucks because like this is actually a topic I wanted to bring up before when Jerry mentioned it, but I kind of forgot because of all the other things I said. But like, it fucking sucks because no matter what, D&D is always in the number one spot in the charts. No matter what happens, no matter what they do or what they say, D&D is always in the number one. It's always the most popular, the most sold, blah blah blah. Despite the fact that they sell 3 separate books for you to be able to play the game, each of those separate books cost 60 fucking bucks, and also, uh, which is also something Pathfinder does, which really pisses me off. And they also have a lot of other fucking things they do like shit, but because they're the most popular and the most blah blah blah, they can just get away with being as little creative and as shit as they want because no one is gonna contest them, and their players are just gonna be like, oh, but I've been playing D&D my whole life. Why would they change? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's just so stupid. Like, and that's exactly why I specifically started doing the thing I'm doing in Nami's server, where instead of focusing on D&D and just going down the list and then grabbing like random indie games that are just interesting, even if they're more niche or less popular. Like I'm grabbing Fist, uh, I'm grabbing like a few of the other games we haven't played yet because no one has shown interest in them. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We've played Call of Cthulhu, which is surprisingly like Call of Cthulhu is in a weird place because it's a well-known game, most people will know what you in the TTRPG space will know what you mean when you say Call of Cthulhu, but barely anyone really plays it. I feel like it feels more a game that's talked about more than one that is played, if you know what I mean. And we also played Pathfinder because I wanted to show my friends that there are in fact things that are that do D&D better than D&D. But also, like, if you guys want to play Mermaids of the Deep, or the Hollow Knight TTRPG, or Wars Without Number, or all of the other stuff I have in my list, please do say so. I am kind of excited to play them too. So you don't want to make a cool fire hypothetical person? No, not Wars. Worlds Without Number. It is Worlds Without Number is a there you are. Worlds Without Number is a old school inspired, like first edition, second edition inspired, stuff like that. People were comfortable with permadeath, God. But yeah, it's an old school. It's part of what it's called on the community the OSR, or Old School Renaissance movement, where basically mechanics from first and second edition are taken and are brought into and the gameplay's philosophy of players actually struggling through unexplored areas and making it in general more about, rather than it being about heroics, it's about normal people trying to make a living on a world that is harsher than them, that they can take and stuff like that. And actually taking it into mechanics that actually, work for modern sensibilities. So instead of having a women get a -2 to strength because I am men strong. I am the very smart. They go like, nah, fuck that shit. And instead just grab the actual interesting stuff from those systems and put it into a better place. So, mechanics like, for example, War Without Number is incredibly simple class-wise. You have 3 classes. Just 3. You have 3 classes. You have the warrior, the specialist, and the wizard. And that's it. Those are your 3 classes. And then those classes, all of them, get focuses. Focuses are specific, are basically specific ability paths that you can take. So, for example, for mages, you can take the armored mage focus. So now you get to wear your big honking like plate armor with your little helmet and stuff. You get to wear a nice little visor and stuff. You get your chest plate with its ab symbols because you are a pseudo historian that really likes the idea of Romans wearing abs for some reason on their armor. Or as a specialist, you can decide to just be a healer. So now you treat wounds better. You have your rolls of tape for and stuff. You get your mortar and pestle to do stuff with wounds and stuff like that. Or maybe as a warrior, you decide that you want to play a bit of a gladiator style character, so you decide to pick a performer sort of thing. So now your gladiator is very good at looking cool and stuff when they are standing above their enemies' corpses. And such, Oops, that is not the shape I wanted to make. What are we saying about? What is the specialist? The specialist is the skill monkey. So how skills are actually very hard to upgrade in this system. Funnily enough, you need to spend points in order to unlock a skill, which gives it a level 0, or otherwise you have a penalizer to using that skill. And let me tell you, modifiers in this game are very small throughout the whole thing. Like, the biggest modifier you can get from a stat is a +2. So having a -2 in your rolls is devastating. So yeah, you have to buy skills. But the thing is, this class starts already with a lot of skills. And then you have to spend points to get more skills or to upgrade your skills. And again, they get extra points to upgrade said skills and to get more skills. So they are the guy that is very good at reading through books. They're the guy who's really good at disarming traps. They're the guy who's really good at cooking. They're the guy who's really good at stealthing. They're the guy who's really good at reading through people. And so on. So they are the chill chuck of the group. They're the chucklefuck. But then, this game has an extra layer of choices to this very simple class system. Because you get mixed classes, where instead of being a full warrior, you can instead choose to be a half warrior and a half wizard. So you get these two, or you get to choose to be a half warrior, half specialist. So you're a warrior you're fairly good at weapons, but you're also very good at stealthing and tricking people and stuff like that. Or maybe you choose to be a specialist wizard. And because of that, you become someone, you maybe want to play a sage. So you're a very studious person, you know a lot about lore, you know a lot about people, about plants, about healing. But you're also a powerful spellcaster, even if your studies aren't as deep as other wizards. And then from there, you also get, on the side of the wizards, special classes that are unique for half classes. Also, by the way, the combining two half classes is called the Adventurer class. It's very fun. But yeah, the Wizard has special half classes that are made to be combined with other classes. So from the Wizard, you can become a sorry, a healer. So you actually get to be able to heal wounds with magic. Or you get to be a monk. Was it called a monk, or was it called something else? Well, I'm gonna call it a monk. You get to be a monk, so you actually get to enhance with magic your attacks and stuff like that. And because of this, you can become like, again, you can change what you want to be. So you can be a healer warrior to play as some sort of war cleric. You can become a healer specialist to become a sort of like battle doctor of sorts that just kind of runs in the middle of the battlefield, quickly patches someone else while they're not being seen, or they are maybe a super sage of the healing, or so and so. But yeah, basically everything that may be like supernatural or magical is related to the wizard. But the wizard can also be something that isn't typically related to the wizard, like the monk or the healer. It's really fun. And you can do some funny shit, like you can get 2 half wizard classes, and you can become a monk healer. So now you are basically a very zen person who uses their monkish abilities to heal people with a touch or stuff like that. Or you become a monk elementalist, and so you're now the fucking avatar. You're very good martially, and you also kick ass with elements. And you can just mix and match however you want. The sky's the limit. I really like War Without Numbers, which is why I want to play it, but no one wants to. So I am. Give me a second. I'm gonna do a funny. I am what is known as sad. What's your question, Neo? What's with the name? What do they not having? No, it's not without numbers. It's without number. It basically comes from the original system that was made in the category of systems, which is, I think, Stars Without Number, which was basically about the ability to make any world of these characteristics without a limit. So you basically would be able to, will be. So in the case of the stars without number, it was because you had a bunch of stars that were unnumbered and unexplored. So you could make your own setting in that system with your own star and your own thing. And here it's like your own world with your own thing connected by the same systems and stuff. And in cities without number, it's your own city, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Uh, but yeah, I pretty much love every single mechanic the game has from like an actual like mechanic perspective. The game is as close to everything I like to that anything has gotten since like Pathfinder Second Edition. So like, I kinda wanna play. I kinda do. Uh, let's see. Let's move over to here. By the way, Neo, since you do have, I didn't try it to be it. Yeah, though everyone else is right now focused on something different, like the SMT gang who then want to play Fist. So I just don't think gonna be able to play for a long time. I mean, maybe I could try to do it with the Monster Shenanigan gang after we finish that game, but that's also gonna take a long time. Especially now that Pain is gonna be going on exam soon. Oh, let me tell you about Fist. So, Neo, you like Metal Gear? Alright. What if I thought, well, Fist is, let me, Fist is a game where you play as a group of unorthodox mercenaries with supernatural abilities, mutations, or just really random normal human characteristics, or stuff like that, who get sent into dangerous life of death or death missions to sneak into terrible organization's plans to try to frustrate them. It is basically a tabletop game heavily based on Metal Gear, but with some other stuff too. And basically, that squad is sent on a mission, and with their special traits and abilities, they need to face off against all sorts of situations from jungle covered secret facility that looks like an umbrella, not like a palm tree. There we go. From jungle covered secret facilities to town skirmishes with organizations to just infiltrating into a military base to basically anything you can come up with, and where they will fight anything from strange ghost matter from a parallel dimension that is trying to destroy them to giant messes of flesh that floating flesh and bone ready to ready, ready to strike at them at a moment's notice to giant as robots that they must defeat in order to stop the nuclear charge they are carrying, all that sort of stuff. And basically, each player has a list of traits that they get, which can be anything as typical as just someone who really likes to carry two guns at the same time, to crazy shit like the power of the fourth wall, which Spec has, that makes your character aware that they are part of a tabletop game and they are able to ask the DM for favors. Or or something very Metal Gear, like the power to steal people from their bases and turn them into your allies. Or also the ability to be a vampire, like fucking Vamp. Or also, how about you are just a skeleton? You're just a living skeleton. Or you can be a Sentai hero. All that and more. Does it also make you bisexual if you take it? I don't know, but Nick's vampire is non-binary, so that's something. Oh yeah, no. Saber was playing as a thrill-seeking character that had the mascot trait, which means that Saber had 1 health, while the rest of their HP got spread to everyone else, and they somehow survived the entire fucking game with with 1 HP. And yeah, and there's so many. You can be a wizard, you can be a witch, you can be Spider-Man, you can be Venom, you can be a fucking, I don't know. Let me think. What other options do you have? You can be like some sort of master of stealth that can teleport. You can have the power of nanomachines on your side. You can you can be a master of weapons that has a pocket dimension to pull them out from. All of that. Yeah, Neo was the Omen Ranger, which was a skeleton Sentai hero who used crows to basically debuff enemies. It was fucking sick. Saber was playing as Slick, the half snake mascot, whose only ability was to just be fucking insane and have the craziest luck ever, except that was just Saber's power, and only had 1 HP to give more HP to everyone else. And then Spec was playing as Jester, who was the motherfucker who had the power to talk to God, and who also just and who he was just a normal guy who could just talk to God. He had no special powers aside from that. Yeah, no, also, to level up, you basically have to pick your character's personality and, like, identity and stuff. Saber chose Thrill Seeker. So to level up, they needed to actually go into danger. Meanwhile, Spec chose the random trait, which meant that at the start of every mission, they just rolled that trait. And that's what the character were. Guess what? In the second mission, Spec rolled Amnesiac. So Jester was like, god damn it. And then smacked his head against the wheel of the car, like the steering wheel of the car, and forced himself to lose memories. It was fucking funny. And also, I gave it was to either become more miserable, make someone else miserable. Yeah, basically. But yeah, and the game also gives you like a crazy amount of freedom to make bosses. Like, for example, I made a boss who was called Slapstick, and his whole idea is that he had the power to make everything around him basically have cartoon logic. So he had like normal person HP, but because he was in cartoon logic constantly, he basically couldn't be properly harmed by anything unless the players actually played into cartoon logic as well, which is how they ended up defeating him. I guess it's kind of like the mask, except that the guy doesn't only have the power of cartoon on himself. He just has an aura, and everything in a specific area becomes cartoon logic as well. So he would like, so he would like, he would like do some crazy shit to one of the players, and they would just get folded into like into 2D or something like that. Oh yeah, and Slick somehow became the arch nemesis of Slapstick, and ended up becoming his doom. Like again, Saber is just something else. Everything just went crazy around Saber in general. Oh god, I have so many pings. What the fuck? It's really fun though. It's a bit hard for me to run because I am not experienced with that kind of game. I try my best. How long have we been streaming? 2 hours 20. Okay, we can still go for a bit longer. Ooh, the article gonna be about Saber? You know, there's some kind of Suicide Squad. Nah, the only one suicidal there is Jester. Everyone else is actually trying to just improve their lives. Poor Jester. Always subjected to my whims. Unless he got a girlfriend. Somehow. While he was being an amnesiac. That was the one thing that was crazier than anything Saber has ever done. Fucking Jester getting a girlfriend while being an amnesiac. Ah. Oh god, I just checked my Discord. Neil has been sending me dating sim TTRPGs. This is truly the best timeline. Blah blah blah. Alright. And the girl I pulled out by being goofy. Basically, I said that they're both goofy ass. Uh, but Neon. Oh, we're not suicide class. The group just shares one brain cell on good days. Hey, Cross has at least 5 brain cells. Put some respect in their name. Da 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 da. But yeah, Neon. Since you're kind of the one keeping the ball rolling, do you have any questions about either the other TTRPGs I have on the list or anything related to Pathfinder that you want me to talk about, or maybe anything else? While I still have this high from. Yeah, you Neo, you're the one who's talking the most. Come on, give it to me, Neo. Nero, give it to me. I said Neo. The problem is that because of how I pronounce it, it sounds like I use an N. Hi, Nico. Did you wake up? He looks so sleepy. What is sleepy baby? You're a sleepy baby, aren't you? Yeah, you are. You are curious. Tell me, what makes you curious, Mr. Nero? I know that RPG confused with Fist. Which one? Mr. Neon, give me some neon. And that is Lancer. Lancer, I haven't actually played anything about it, but I know that it is a mech TTRPG. It is about controlling mechs and having tactical combat with them. a bit based on Armor Core, I think. It's very heavy on resource management. But yeah, no, I haven't actually seen or played anything about Lancer. I just know what the premise is. Because I also got dragged into the conversation by one Sifi. This is Nick's Pove. Lancer is the robot's Pove. Rules of nature. Oh, Mermaids of the Deep. Oh man. Okay. That could be a. Whoop! I changed my pencil. No, don't do that. It's gonna be a bit of an interesting one to talk about, but sure. But no, Saber really wants to play that one because it appeals to their queer mindset. I mean, most of you already know the premise, but just for those who may be watching. Memories of the Deep. Most of the world has been sunken down Splatoon style. And so, most of the civilization is concentrated in a few megapolises located in these small bits of land that are basically like spread throughout the different continents are still alive. So you have like the Tibet, you have the Alps on Europe, you have like the Appalachian Mountains and stuff in the United States. And so, most of society just lives in these cities to the best they can. And because of advancements in technology and the collapse of human society civilization in a large scale, transhumanism has largely taken over civilization, with people now rather being able to live for longer and with bodies that allow for a better quality of life with the now more limited resources the world has. And as such, most people at adulthood transfer their bodies into cyborg bodies or partially replace their bodies with cyborg parts. And you, my dear player, will be one of said cyborgs. Specifically, you will be playing as a scavenger of sorts that has installed their brain into a special shout out to the transcend humans. God. Into a special cyborg body that is partially marine based. So you have like tentacle bodies or siren bodies or stuff like that. And with this special body, you decide to explore the depths of the ocean, where part of civilization has now developed with the development of these submarine-based bodies. So, since you know the ocean does have a lot of land to purchase, and you are especially part of a group of people who go down into the deepest, dankest depths, where the remains of all human civilization remain. And you go down there to try to scavenge any technology or any information that you can find in order to make a good amount of cash to maybe get yourself a new body, get yourself new equipment, get yourself a better home, or whatever it is you want. And you keep rinsing and repeating while some fucky wacky stuff is happening in the background in the lore. But yeah, that's the premise. You play. Also, I love there is a very funny thing about this setting where it's like, now that transhumanism has settled that most people can just use their body, a majority of people have chosen feminine looking bodies compared to the original bodies. So most of the designs in this game are just feminine based. And it's like, yeah, sure. That's exactly why. The game really was like, what reason do we use to have all these hottie robot mermaid characters? The apocalypse made half the most of the population trans. Hell yeah. Like, yeah, no, the game doesn't hide what kind of vibe it wants to go with. But honestly, I vibe with that. It is very much like a very transhumanist and very queer game, that's for sure. But it looks really fun, though I haven't barely been able to explore the mechanics of it and such, because again, I haven't been able to play it yet, so not much I can say other than the skill mechanics are cool, and I really like the character designs. They're very pretty. Makes look when you want to take a hot woman body if you could. Yes. Any questions? Like when I see someone go like everyone would want to be a sexy mermaid if they could. Instantly, I remember how pretty much any trans community when saying that would be like, "Do we tell them, Chad? Do we tell them how people don't usually actually think like that?" The jury has spoken. Everyone shall be a pretty woman or a pretty man if that's what they want, though their body will be rare and thus more expensive. It is the opposite of the pink tax. The egg, nah, caviar. Ah, the premium stuff. I see. The looks dysphoria. Man, this game is just tongue beaten. These games just make me jealous of the fictional characters in them sometimes. I'm just saying. Let's see, for more TTRPG talk. I'm just saying, why couldn't we have the fun part of the cyberpunk society where modifying your body is super easy? Is there a superhero TTRPG? Yes. There are many. A lot. An incredible amount. A staggering amount. Absolutely, just so many. Of course, I'm exaggerating a bit, but like, I'm not gonna draw about this one because again, I don't have that much knowledge about them. But the most well-known one is definitely Mutants and Mastermind, probably D20 based like system where you just make your own superhero with their own power level and stuff like that. It's very fun. Though again, never played it, but it looks like a great time. And you have others that are more like skill point based games where you can build characters up to like superhero level and you can choose which kind of threats you build and stuff like that. Or you also have like the sort of games that have like an open-ended approach to what kind of game you can make. So you can make a superhero game, you can make a normal fantasy game or stuff like that. Like there's definitely plenty of options about that, though again, not quite my circle of preference, so I haven't really looked into them that much. But for anyone that wants superhero, trust me, there's plenty to fill your desires. Just so many superheroes, so many hotties. Actually, I'm gonna go on a tangent of my own because I just remember something. I think the RPG I also want to talk about. Who the fuck is using power tools now? BSM. I haven't heard of that one. What's that one, Neon? My cool superhero CAs came when I was watching Boku no Hero Academia, to be honest, Neon. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll actually like make it real. Oh, Big A Small Mouth. Okay, yeah, I have heard of that one. Yeah, that's basically the anime version of superhero style thing, where you basically get to be a shonen protagonist. Again, really cool idea. Haven't played it yet though. There are NSFW books. Oh, I see. Good to know. To be fair, I always wondered like what kind of vibe an NSFW game would have with my group of friends. Like, would it just be all horny shit, or would it be more about just us puffing around and seeing what kind of bullshit we can come up with? Because I do know actually one real good NSFW game, though I do not share it because I keep those days private to myself for reasons. Saber, I'm gonna be real with the conversations I've had. You already hatched your egg long ago. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. As the one non-binary person here who really wishes they had a different body, you're definitely one of us, Saber. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Also, DM that one. What the system I'm talking about? I mean, maybe I can talk to you about it later. It's called oh, what was it now? Give me a second. Scully, where are you, Scully? Where art thou, Scully? By some violence, that was it. I'm 100% right. Yes, I know I am. But yeah, it's a game called By Some Violence, made by a really fun person who I who I will not talk much further about because again, I keep my taste private. No, not dice, vice. You know, with a V. Da, da, da. But yeah, no, I can share stuff with you later if you want, Neo. I'm looking up on my own. Sure, sure. Maybe you will be able to infect paint too if you like it enough. Keep the dice private. We will never see the rolls again. We can do what to? Wait, what are you talking about? I like that. Oh god. What have I done? What have I done? Talk about it, I mean. I don't know. For me, it's kind of weird talking about those sort of things, but whatever you guys prefer, I guess. Not. Uh, but going back to what I was going to talk about before I started talking about NSFW shit, because everyone is horny in this goddamn friend group. Peace and Nick is just like the rules version. Oh. I, I don't know if you were just like saying that it was NSFW as a joke or you actually thought it was NSFW because of the name. God, that actually got me. BSM naked. Ugh. Man, I swear I'm glad that in this today's TTRPGs, I thought it was just a because of the cover. Ah, I see. Speaking of other systems I want you guys to play, I should also talk to you guys about anima in a different stream. I think that would be a fun time. Because God knows I'm not gonna be able to show you guys the manual. Because it fucking sucks in English. For some reason. Anyways, Smushy the Saber, who is a cutie. And also let me talk about to you about Trench Crusade. Which may be the last thing I could talk about today. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we are going back to the strategy section of our previous discussion. You know, back in the good old days when we were talking about how D&D fell flat from its own legacy. Yeah, no. Let's ignore all that and give me a second. Pixie, give me. Hi, Pixie. How you doing? Who's your good kitty? Who's your good baby? You are. But yeah, as I was saying, let's go into the tactics centered section of the games that were developed from the tactical RPGs. And let me talk to you about Trench Crusade. A game that has a very fun goddamn premise. which is, what if the Crusades became real fucked up in in a different timeline? What if the good old Templars, them with their cross and stuff, the Red Cross and all that, what if the good old Templars just in their conflict with the Islamic citizens of what is the area of Jerusalem and such. What if they ended up opening by accident a portal to hell? You know, what if the Crusades have been going on since their inception? Have been going on until the ages of World War II. It's that World War II doesn't exist in here. No, well, only World War One, not two. Because they have ever since then been in a constant war against demons from hell. So, Trent's Crusade is about Templar styles World War One soldiers fighting in a constant struggle against denizens from hell in now trench warfare, as the name describes. So you just have like a Templar as knight with like his helmet and all that, the typical bucket helmet that they were known for. Except the guy is carrying a goddamn flamethrower. Give me a second. I'm trying to make the body look right. Yep. There we go. And there we go. They just have a goddamn flamethrower that is just, they're just shooting at demons. And then you have like an angel powered like reinforced soldier that just smites people with the power of God and a gun. Let me send you something, Faye. Sure. Hell, let me see if I can find images because I actually want to show this. It's like the style of this is actually sick. I love it so much. Oh yeah, no, the metal armor that some World War One soldiers wear. I know. Yeah, I know that was a thing. Also, God, that is a very misleading thing. You are right, Neon. Man, let me find real quick an actual image from Trench Crusade. Also, not sponsored at all. I just really love this thing. Alright, give me a second. Gonna real quick like just grab some of this stuff. Because like this is some sick goddamn shit. It's absolutely awesome. What should I grab for this? We're all just nerds for stuff. Also, probably the most hilarious armor ever made. Yeah, no, it do be kind of fucking goofy. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, I'd say these images are probably enough to do the showcase I want to. Oops. Let me move over to here real quick. Let's see. Oh wait, no, wrong thing. Alright, and let's show you first this. And bloop. Whoop, that's way too big. Give me a second. There we go. Like, look at this shit. This shit is sick. Look at this George Knight. Or or this demon unit. Or this goddamn, let's see. Or this other corrupted unit that has just possessed a bunch of the armament from the Crusaders. And then you also have, I just need this thing was massive. And you have the actual battle nurses dressed in like nun outfits. And you also have people from whoa, Jesus. God, where is okay, here. God, that's so big. Okay. And you also have people from the Ottoman, from the like Turkish Muslim group people, basically, also on the side of fighting against the demons. So you have like guys like this, like wearing actual like traditional Turkish armor, while also having a gas mask. Or you have this other cool motherfucker. Why are you so tiny comparison? Or you have, give me a second. I think I left one of them behind. Yep, here it is. You have this bitch carry just a harpy as a hunting falcon. Maybe I should censor that. I don't know. Like, just so cool. The designs for this thing are all so cool. It's amazing. And that's like the tip of the iceberg in designs. There's so many of these. Like, if you want to treat for the eyes, just search Trench Crusade. You're not gonna regret it. Or maybe you will if you are very weak to gore. You know, there's a thing. yeah, that is Torrencho Crusade. Another thing I really want to play for you guys at some point. Eventually. Maybe. Possibly. I hope. It'll probably also be much cheaper to play than Warhammer. Which is why I also am supporting it, because I'm like, man, I really would like to try one of these strategy games, but man, Warhammer is so fucking expensive. Oh, hey, look! A new game that will probably not try to steal my goddamn lungs away with cash. Great. Alrighty. If I'm pretty sure anything's cheaper than Warhammer. Yep, that's the point. Just look at Space Marines. That shit is expensive. Expensive ass game. But yeah, you guys have anything else you want me to talk about? Any other questions? Anything else? Warhammer was once cheaper than Warhammer, indeed. I think that can be said about most things lately with inflation. Since we talk about the mermaid one, uh-huh. How the next trans topic? Oh, okay. What's the next trans topic? When asked if you got any ideas for this anti campaign yet? Yes, I do. I have plenty of ideas, but I need to wait until the thing actually appears to see how can I apply them. Neon, well, Neo, I guide you to look at the list of games and look at the one called Girl by Moonlight. Look at my list of TTRPGs because Girl by Moonlight is right there, and there's also a bajillion others. There's so many magical girl ones. There are non-stop girl magical girl games. I have like 3 of them myself on my just on the ones I have on my thing. Not on my list, but like in my computer, I have like already 3 of those purchased from different sources. The list is pinned in the TTRPG channel. It is pinned and it has every single game I've offered for you guys to play. Because all the other ones are either too niche or too weird, I feel, for your tastes. Here, I'll also read the list real quick. The list include. Wanna tell me about your fave? Throw anything at me. Almost says. I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, still, I just feel like. Yeah, this is of weirdness. I mean, more in the sense that they are weird to play, or they are a very specific type of storytelling or such that maybe doesn't mesh well with the kind of way we play, mostly. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna read through the list real quick, just so you know. You got so I can give my opinions on them. I think that's a good stopping point. I think that would be a good stopping point to do just that. So, first we have Call of Cthulhu. That one doesn't really require presentation to you guys. You know, there's a spooky squid man underwater, and he wants to fuck everyone on Earth. Wait, wrong game. That's Sucker for Love. Then the second one is Fist. Again, I already explained down there. Okay, but what if though? No, I'm not doing Sucker for Love in Call of Cthulhu. Fuck you. Then we have For the Dungeon. For the Dungeon is about a bunch of goobers. It's about a bunch of goober monsters. Let me see if I can, like, there we go. It's about a bunch of goober monsters who serve the big bad evil guy of some dungeon. And for Sucker for Love TTRPG, god. You try dungeon at some point. Yeah, that's the one where you were playing the Lamia Saber. But that was something I did specifically with you on Spec. But yeah, For the Dungeon is a silly comedy game where you're a bunch of goobers who serve the Lord of a Dungeon and who try to do tasks to help further the agenda of the Lord of the Dungeon while trying to not get yourself into too much trouble. Then we have Fractured Kingdom, which is a very interesting one, which is about a post-apocalyptic version of the Earth where the supernatural so the supernatural planes that are intrinsically connected with the Earth have had their limits with it unsealed, allowing people within the Earth to be infused by the power of these other planes, thus giving them supernatural powers to them and to other organizations that exist within the world. And the story is about how these superpowered people have to struggle between their normal lives in this post-apocalyptic futuristic world and the lives they're now forced to deal with now that they are part of this strange new world and the worlds that they're connected with. Then we have Girl by Moonlight, which is the one I was just talking about. Which is, I'm just, give me a second. There, that's Girl by Moonlight. I don't think I need to describe it further. Super queer as magical girl game where you can basically play as four of the main tropes for magical girls, where you can be like, the typical Sailor Moon, where you're fighting the big evil at the risk of your own life. The typical Madoka Magica, where your powers are a curse applied upon the world, and the more you try to use your powers, the more problems you cause. At the same time as you try to fight the ultimate evil, you have something that's more akin. You have something that's basically Gunbuster, where you basically use super mech suits to try to defeat an ultra evil power trying to destroy the Earth. And the last one, which is oh god, I forgot the last one. Non-stop girls and queers as girls like RPGs. Well, you see, that's because a lot of queer people like TTRPGs, Saber. But yeah, no, like I said, you have the typical Sailor Moon, the typical Madoka Magica. Then you have something similar to Gunbuster, where it's like girls, like characters in mech suits fighting horrible fucking monstrosities from space or something like that. And then the last one, I'm having trouble remembering the last scenario. Give me a second. I'm gonna check it out real quick. Uh, 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 uh. Girl, 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 by moonlight. Fly me to the moon. Oh yeah, in a maze of dreams, which is basically like, it's very similar to like Persona. Although that's not the main thing it's based on, but it reminds me of Persona, where you are people who like travel to an alternate like cognitive world where you alter people from within their minds, basically. So yeah, no, you're the four types of magical girl: Sailor Moon, Madoka Magica, Gunbuster, and Persona. Honestly, that sounds about right. But yeah, that's Girl by Moonlight. Then we have the Mythic system, which is a fan-made Halo system. Dun-dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun-dun. And with this shape, you already know what I'm doing. It's crazy how easy to detect the shape of Master Chief's helmet is. But yeah, it's a super complex system based on Warhammer to basically finish the fight, Faye. Wait, what? You need to graph Pain and Jerry here. Yeah, yeah. This is the system for Pain and Jerry basically. It's heavily based on the Warhammer, and it basically allows you to make any type of soldier that exists in the Halo universe, and just go on missions with that, either as a whole as battalion or as an actual individual thing. It basically runs the middle ground of the two branches that I mentioned before that spawn from the Warhammer style game, basically. Then we have one of my favorite super niche ones, Heart the City Beneath. You exist within a magical world where magic and technology fuse together, but it's also under the the constant pressure of a tight class system enforced by powerful overlooking elves that make sure that everyone stays on the right place where they belong. Yeah, Heart the City Beneath. In the in this world, people from different in this world, the great city of the Spire lies above, ensuring that everyone stays in their place by the elves' great machinations. Well, oops, give me a second. What you want, Pixie? No, you cannot climb up. While the technology-seeking humans continue to explore around the area, trying to explore the great ruins that lay under the spire, and yeah, Pixie. And many other civilizations also interact with this great city while trying to get as much benefit as they want from it. But beneath this city lies something sinister, something beyond anyone's wildest dreams. A great network of tunnels. God damn it, this cat. Great network of tunnels spreads from beneath the slums of the city, going deeper and deeper, spreading into great caves where all sorts of strange environments appear, from big forests to great mountains to extended oceans to thin graveyard-like tunnels where the souls of the dead wander. But eventually, as you descend down and further, the environment becomes more meaningless, more senseless. Flesh starts covering the walls. Weird cultists and witches sacrifice the innocent to appease unknown gods. Pieces of technology and train networks run across dimensions and time and space as you get closer to the heart. For below the city of Spire lies a great unknown entity, only known as the heart, that pulls people downwards, promising them their deepest desires, promising them the greatest exploits ever. But truly, God, why is all this noise going around right now? But yeah, but truly, anyone who goes down into the depths where the heart's power is strongest either don't come back as themselves or they never come back at all, either dying in the way there or being assimilated into the ever-growing ecosystem, growing under the corruption of the heart. So, Heart the City Beneath is the second book in a two-book series of TTRPGs divided in Spire, the City Above, and Heart the City Beneath. While Spire is about the struggle of power against an overlording elf class in a fantasy futuristic setting, where you try to struggle against the hidden conspiracies of the city. Heart the City Beneath is about what lies beneath. A great strange entity twists and bends reality and space to its whim, creating a deep, changing underground network of tunnels where those kicked out of the cities, those seeking for their own desires, or those who just have a bit too much curiosity, gathered together in the old settlements and towns that dot the terrifying and alien landscape that grows more and more inhumane the deeper you go. With some just being normal people make trying to make their own lives better, while others are crazed cultists and witches trying to appease again the favor of the great deity lying below. But no matter what happens, one thing is certain: your characters will not return alive or as themselves from this venture, as they will either become something completely different, or they will die in the process to try to fulfill their dreams. So yeah, I really like this one. This one is one of my faves. I really want to play this one. I'm just saying. Just really like it. Then we have the Hollow Knight fan-made TTRPG. It is honestly, a pretty open-ended in terms of choices game. Like, impressively so, with a lot of tools to make your own stuff, basically. And yeah, it's Hollow Knight. There's not much else I can say about that. You get to make your own little bug with their own little characteristics and traits. There we go, little ghost. Well, what is the gameplay like? For hard? Yes, it does have classes. And each class represents one sort of idealistic fool that has a specific reason for going down below. You have the mind trouble ravaged skirmishers who basically give away their sanity in order to obtain unlimited physical power. You have the witches that give pieces of their humanity to the heart in order to obtain more and more powerful magic powers. You have the technician classes that specifically search for those. Remember those trains I mentioned that go through dimensions? Yeah, those trains are like super important to certain people who want to steal their parts in order to create super powerful machine armors for themselves and stuff like that. Because they're basically now machines that have been contaminated with the power with the world bending powers of the heart. You have people like the believers of the moon goddess who uh who after the religion was kicked from the city of Spire have now developed their religion down below, and they think that within the heart they may be able to find access to the world of their goddess, and so on and so forth. And those are all classes own little with their own little like playbooks. They have a few fixed abilities and a few abilities you can choose for yourself. But the most important part is once you reach max level, your character's days are numbered. At some point, you will use the final ability of your character, and that will end your character's story forever. So yeah, it's fucking sick. I love it. And the setting is absolutely crazy because you can basically it's built so you can mix and match like absolutely like weird as traits that shouldn't be mixed and matched in order to create environments that are completely weird. Like mix a super like dead barren full of the dead and stuff with like a huge ass forest full of beasts. So you suddenly have like an animal cemetery of giant skeletic animals and stuff like that. I guess every company knows to go someday. Yep, indeed. But yeah, going back to the Hollow Knight TTRPG, it's basically that. It's the game tries to allow for as many possibilities for the Hollow Knight system as possible. And funny enough, it's a very deep on survival game. Like your character is meant to eat, is meant to have maintain their stamina, is meant to basically meant to keep themselves alive in the very harsh outskirts of Bug civilization. So yeah, nothing much more to say because if you know Hollow Knight, you know what this is, and if you don't, I'm not going to explain the game itself right now for reasons. Ah man, I'm already running out of time. I mean, in Hollow Knight you play as an entity without bodily functions, so yeah, of course, in Hollow Knight you don't eat and stuff. Okay, then for the last one, kids on bikes. Whoop, chup, 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 chup. Epic bike. No bike has ever been better than this bike. No, Kids on Bike is a system heavily based on things like Stranger Things and Scooby Doo, where basically you are the typical group of people who have noticed that something odd has been going around their town. You know, you are in the 90s. Communication is not all that much yet. People are you know, pretty community based right now. You go with your friends on your bikes to the arcade, you hug around, you hear some rumors about something weird the teacher are doing, you go poke around, and boom! Frankenstein monster. And the game is basically a range from anything going from Stranger Things to Scooby Doo, basically, where your characters may be going on goofy adventures, uncovering weird people going on disguises to scare others, or they might be fighting eldritch horrors from beyond the veil. And although the game is called Kids on Bikes, you can play as anything from a child to an adult, with their own benefits and drawbacks. And the game is generally pretty open, pretty rules light, and it's all about basically drawing the players and characters to go further into the investigation, to keep using their characters like specialties to do their own research and stuff. It's really fun. It's really good for like short and sweet game sessions and stuff, where you do a little bit of a ongoing campaign every session. Okay. Gonna have to decide if there's anything else. No, I guess it's a good stopping point. I need to prepare for Pathfinder now. So let us go for now. But this was so much fun. This was actually a great idea. Oh my god, I've actually had so much fun talking to you guys. This would be great, especially because I get to get you guys more interested into stuff I like, which means we can then do more TTRPG stuff that this stuff that I like. Makes me happy. Makes me very, very happy. Okay, there we go. Finish sorting that stuff. I will post the doodle page after the stream for you guys to enjoy. Oh, don't worry, Neo. This is just the beginning. I have so much more to show you guys. Especially if you start asking me about my settings. If you ask me about Televic, I will not shut up for days. Be ready. Be fucking ready. But for now I need to rest for a bit and get ready for the JJ apology arc, where JJ appreciates her friends even more and stuff. It's gonna be great because this session you guys are gonna be yapping all the time and I'm barely gonna have to narrate. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna love it. Next time I'm gonna ask what the Ancient War was about. Oh boy. Saturday that I interpreted stuff of the enough I might have finally remember stuff. But yeah, that will be it for now. And hope you guys have a wonderful time and see you, Saber and Neo, in just a moment. And thank you all for hanging out, especially you for inspiring me to do this, Nami. This has been lovely. Bye bye.